Well, as we kind of wrap up here, I just want to have you touch base just on a statement that you have called the Next Gen Regional Control Program. Can you talk just briefly about what that is and what that looks like?
Yeah, so we have a graduate student here. His name is Edison Magalhães, and he's working with this, what he's calling the Next Generation Regional Control Programs. And what those consist of is, well, if we just back a little bit on, I think it was all started, as I can remember, with Dr. Bob Morrison in the, I would say 2003, 4, around there, maybe a little bit later. But so those regional programs that started in the early to mid 2000s, and they just disseminated in the US. There were, to the best of my knowledge, some 70 or more regional programs, but then those had a good traction. They did good. They were good for that science of collaboration that led to other projects, right? But then over time they faded, and there's not many pretty active programs anymore. And one of the reasons we think why those programs didn't keep evolving is you had a lot of decision makers on the table, sometimes a regional program with 50, 60, 70 producers. And how do you align expectations if you're controlling or eliminating? How do you align actions? What are you going to do if you test positive, or right? And so at that time, people were still bleeding a lot of pigs, didn't use a lot population-based sampling that allows more frequent testing. So when you learn that a farm broke, it was already too late for any action, right? And so today, this next generation programs, it's all based on trying to establish a region with fewer decision makers. We're talking about 2, 3 decision makers on the table, but still making decisions for most of the sites in the region is agreeing upon some decision trees of what specifically are you going to do to the sow farm break, or if a grow finish turns positive. So you gotta agree upon a minimum monitoring frequency. Sow farms, for example, you can do that weekly. Grow finish every 3, 4 weeks may be enough, but still you gotta have some frequency of testing. And then on top of the testing is, what are you going to do if they test positive? Because eventually they are. And so you have established some decision trees that are more aggressive when the prevalence of the region is low, less aggressive when everybody's positive. But if you think about when the prevalence of the region is low and you have a site turning positive, you got to be aggressive. Otherwise, that virus is going to spread around, right? So you got to list and talk, agree upon with the producers on what are you willing to do. Are you willing to trade finishers? Are you willing to mass vaccinate the surrounding sites? Are you willing to just list the biosecurity, biocontainment, immune management solutions? Let's list them on the table, and now let's assign each scenario of high, medium, low prevalence. What are we going to do with the sow farms, with the nurseries, with the finishers when they break? We're going to monitor. So that all calls for a good digital package to be able to real time, or as close to real time as possible, monitor, and everybody be on the same page on what's the status of each herd, the productivity monitoring, the diagnostic monitoring, the clinical signs monitoring. And then one site pops positive or suspect, what are we going to do? So we don't have to decide anymore because it's already decided. It's a matter of now implementing. And we think that that's one way to approach regional programs, especially in those regions where you have a few decision makers on the table. Hard to do in the heart of Iowa, for example, where you would have several decision makers. But if you were approach from transitional regions, you could start implementing those and keep growing that module, right? That bubble over time with that sort of decision tree based approach. So we're excited about that, and we'll keep working on those concepts.